begun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. Oh, we know what we have, let's hold on.
Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome back to another reading vlog where I am hoping to read some Mystic Box and Belle Box books. This is kind of like my way of figuring out whether or not these subscription boxes are worth my time and my money. I have read several books from this subscription box in the past, and I have a lot more that I would like to get through. So my goal is to read a few of them with you guys today and kind of come to a conclusion on whether or not I would like to continue with the subscription. Obviously subscription boxes are pricey, but you know, you get what you pay for. These editions are gorgeous and stunning, but I have a lot of subscription boxes. I can't say that word fast. I have a lot of boxes that I get, and I just need to figure out if these are worth it. So I have a few that are already on my TBR for the month of October, what month are we in? September. And I have a few more that I'm ambitious, and I think if I can, you know, get through some of these, I might pick one or two of these up. But the ones for sure that I know I'm gonna read are Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. This one that came in a Mystic Box. This is a forbidden student-teacher romance. I'm interested, scared a little bit, but interested. I also have The Blood and Roses Volume 1. I'm sorry, it's The Blood and Roses series Volume 1. This has 3 novellas, if I'm not mistaken. This is by Callie Hart. I have read a book by this author in the past, and I enjoyed what I read, so I'm curious to see if I'm going to like this one. And I like the fact that they're little novellas. Hopefully it'll make it feel like it's going by a little faster. And then I also have Hideaway by Penelope Douglas, the second book in the Devil's Night series. I have read book 1. I just actually reread book 1 recently in anticipation to getting book 2. So we will see how I feel about book 2, seeing as my rating for book 1 actually went down upon a reread. So we shall see. These are the ones that are for sure going to be a part of this video, but I also have 4 more here that I'm very interested in reading, some of which finish up series and continue on with series. One of the other ones that I have I just really want to read. So we do have The Naked Fisherman. This is the wrong book. I meant to pick up The Lost Fisherman. I did already read this one. This is book 1 in a duology. The Lost Fisherman is book 2. They both came in a Belle Box, so I'm intrigued to pick that one up and see if I like it. Speaking of duologies, we also have When Villains Rise by Gianna Darling. I didn't absolutely love book 1, but I am curious to see what I think of book 2. Continuing on with series, I have Garnet Flats by Devney Perry, the 3rd book in the Eden series, not including the novella in the beginning. I did really love everything that I have read so far by this author and the series, so I would really love to get along with this one and read that and finish up the series relatively soon, because Devney Perry just recently got picked up by a traditional publisher, so I would like to get the regular editions before those ones go out of print. And then last but finally and not least, we have Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. This book is in the same world as Still Beating. We are introduced to the male main character of this book a little bit in Still Beating, and I know it's going to be a very hard-hitting and deep book, but this is one that I've been wanting to read for a really, really long time. I love Jennifer Hartman's writing, so I'm really curious to see what I'm going to think of this one. On the back it says, "The lotus will bloom into the most magnificent flower, even when the roots are in the murkiest of waters." So I'm really curious about that one. Hopefully I can get to it and love it. This is a stand-in for The Lost Fisherman, but this is my little TBR, little being quite a bit more than I was expecting. I'm not going to get to all of these, but those are my thoughts on what I am going to try to read during this reading vlog. I don't know if it's going to be a week or if I'm going to push it into October, but I'm going to bring you along for the ride. Hopefully I end up loving them. And then at the end, we'll kind of go through, or maybe during the middle, I'm not sure. We'll kind of go through my stats on my Mystic Box and Belle Box books and my ratings that I've given them so far, and you know, kind of see how I feel about most of the books that I've read since getting these boxes. So I will talk to you guys when I have a reading update, but until then, I'll talk to you then.
Oh my child, I know you're hurt and you can't let go. It's not your fault and you don't deserve all the bad and the hurt. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up, just hold on tight. It'll be alright. All your life you've tried to be a good man inside. Did everything that you thought you should. Didn't seem to do you any good. I know you've tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. I know you tried so hard. I know you've done your part. It's not fair. You did your time. How much longer will you suffer in this life? But don't give up. Just hold on tight. It'll be alright. In the car playing our favorite song. Turn it up, windows down, we sing along. The summer night has just begun. The moon is bright, let's have some fun. Oh, this is everything with you right next to me. So alive, and tonight I'm thinking that I don't wanna go.
Hello friends, happy Monday. I hope the air conditioning is not super loud, but I did want to come on here and give you an update on my reading before I inevitably finish this book. I did pick up my first book of this video, and that is Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. I'm not loving it. So not a great start to why can't I say that word? Is this sub box worth it? Because I'm not loving it. I'm not going to give it like a 2-star or anything. I think it's probably going to be a solid 3-star rating. But this is definitely forbidden and taboo and dark in ways that is just unenjoyable to read, I don't think. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed this book, and I think I'll have to go back and look at some reviews before I give my final in-depth thoughts on this story. But this one follows... God... That's when you know when you read a book and you genuinely can't remember the names of the characters. Ivory, and she has had a very terrible and traumatic upbringing. She has constantly been SA'd by multiple people in her life, including people that are close to her. But she has had such a terrible relationship with sex that she doesn't really understand the concept of grape and... I don't want to get demonetized. That's the reason I'm saying it like that. But she doesn't understand the repercussions of that, as well as really the implications of it. And she's very confused by sexual encounters in and of itself. And so she's very tortured in that way. She is known as the school slut because she is very... unfortunate when it comes to money in her family. Her father passed away in a shooting at his bar, but before that he had sold the bar for the tuition for her to go to this really fancy music school so that she could be a pianist, something that she really loves. But due to that, they don't have any money, so she's forced to get money by other means, and she uses that as a way to pay her bills and get her school supplies. She does homework for a lot of the guys, but she also ends up sleeping with them, not really by her own choice, but because that's what these men are asking of her, and she doesn't know how to say no without saying no to the money. And then she ends up meeting her new piano teacher, who she's hoping will get her into this really intense and elite piano school or music school. And they end up having a tutor. Why can't I talk? They end up having a student-teacher relationship between the two of them. And I want to love this, but the character is underage, technically. She's 17. I was always under the impression that 18 is the legal age. In this book, they're saying that 17 is the legal age. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know. It just feels like it's giving ick. It's giving ick. It's giving not the right kind of forbidden. But something about it is also really interesting to read. And I do think that the male main character does have a lot of care and appreciation for Ivory as a female and as a main character. However, it does feel a little bit manipulative and like he's preying on her needs, because obviously she wants money and she wants love and she wants attention because she doesn't get that in her life, and I feel like he's preying on that a little bit, and so it makes it hard to like fall in love with these characters when I don't feel like the intention of the male main character is truly because he is in love with this character. It's more infatuation and lust, and he knows it's wrong and they both know it's wrong, but they can't seem to walk away, even though there's nothing founded on love or emotions. It's all just lust and his want and need to dominate her, and I don't know, something about it is just not giving me what I wanted it to give. So I'm gonna finish it. I'm currently on page 265 of like 342-ish. So I don't have a lot left. I'm gonna finish it up. I think it's gonna be a 3-star, but definitely not as exciting as I wanted it to be, because I wanted this to be a 5-star read. So that's unfortunate, but I will give you my thoughts on this one when I finish it, and I will move on to my next book, which I have absolutely no idea what it's gonna be, so stay tuned. Good morning, friends. I just wanted to come on here and give you an update, my final update on Dark Notes, and then move on to what I'm reading next. Dark Notes. I'm disappointed. I really wanted to love this, but I just felt icky the entire way through, so it was really hard to root for the characters and love the characters when I didn't feel any conviction for their story. I ended up giving this one a 3-star. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely think that this book can be harmful to those that are reading it, so definitely 100% check the trigger warnings on this one before you read it. And I know that that is across the board for all dark romance, but sometimes I feel that there's a line, and you can't just write a book to be dark for the sake of being dark, and or maybe you can. I don't know. I don't want to say you can't, because yes, you can. It's just, I don't know, something about this felt very manipulative and almost insensitive to people that go through very large and traumatizing bouts of sexual assault. Coming from experience, I feel like it was a little insensitive and a little prey for the male main character to do what he did. That being said, he was very protective and cared very much for the main character by the end, but it did feel a little bit insta-lovey, and it didn't really feel like their relationship was grounded and had a foundation of anything that was worthwhile. So there were things that I liked about this. The writing was impeccable. Some of the quotes in here were fantastic, and I really loved Pam Godwin's writing, but I just didn't love the story or the characters. So 3 stars for me on that one. And then I did pick up The Blood and Roses by Kelly Hart. This is part 1. There are 3 novellas in this story, and I am currently halfway through the second novella, which is Fracture. So it's Deviant, Fracture, and then Burn in this one. And I wish that this video was going better, because honestly, I'm not loving it. I had high hopes for the first novella. I thought it was going well, but again, the insta-love in here is just absurd. And I get novellas tend to be that way, but when you're biting them up in a full-length novel like this, I feel like there can be a little bit of slow burn. We can be moving towards something that's a little bit different. And it's feeling very meh. like very 3 stars, very meh. The writing in here is a choice, okay? Some of the things that were like, I think at one point the male main character, who's supposed to be like a badass, like will kill anybody, has no remorse, called somebody liar, pants on fire. Let that sink in. It was strange. There's some choice wording in here, but I'm not disliking it. I think it has a lot of potential, and I'm curious to see what I'm going to think of it when I get to the end. There is this sense of like kind of like a mystery because the female main character's sister is missing and has been missing for a long time, and she's been looking for her, and she's done several things to try to get her sister back. But the male main character actually ends up being able to find information about her sister, and it's definitely a dark romance. There are some things in here that I wouldn't necessarily want in my own life. There's some red flags waving front and center, but I'm not disliking it. I just wish that the writing was a little bit better and the pacing was a little bit better, because the way that the first novella ended, I was like, okay, all right. But because it's binded up into a one book, wow, I can't think of the words. It's early in the morning. I feel like that's doing it a service, because it's helping with the pacing a little bit, since it doesn't feel so disjointed, because the story continues. But I don't know, I'm not loving it. And seeing as I haven't loved the first 2 books that I brought up in this video about whether or not this subscription box is worth it, I'm getting a little nervous. So those are my updates. I will give you more updates once I get some more reading done. I'm hoping to finish The Blood and Roses Part 1 today and move on to Hideaway by Penelope Douglas, the last like actual book on my tarot TBR for the month. And then if I can get anything else done from the ones I showed you the other day, then I will do so. But I will update you guys when I have something fun and exciting to say.
Calling sick in the morning, baby, don't leave. They don't need to know we're out here wild and free. They say we're crazy, it's too much. And yeah, we're crazy, deep in love. Oh, this is everything, with you right next to me. So alive, and tonight I'm thinking that I don't wanna go. This is everything, with you right next to me. So alive, and tonight I'm thinking that I don't wanna go. This is everything, with you right next to me. So alive.
Good morning, friends. Long time no talk. It's been a few days. I have finished some books, but I've just been busy running around doing things. So I figured I would give you an update on my reading. There's one book I don't think I updated you at all, and then I need to finish up my updates on The Blood and Roses by Callie Hart. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 stars. I didn't not enjoy it. I just think that the writing was a little funky at times. The pacing was a little bit funky, but overall I think the story has some really great potential. I did really enjoy the 3rd novella. I felt like that one was the most plot focused. Wow, that was really hard, and had some really cool intrigue to it that I enjoyed. So I'm glad that I got into the 3rd one so that I could feel a little bit more anchored in the story and enjoying the characters in a way that was just like not just like surface level. So that was good. I enjoyed it. I think that I will probably end up enjoying the 2nd book in this like bind up novella situation more than this one. For me, especially if I was reading these individually, I don't think I would have ever continued on with the series, because it doesn't have enough to it. They're too short, with not enough intrigue, especially in the first 2, to keep you engaged and glued into the story. So if I had read these individually, I don't think I would have continued. So I think that the bind up was a great idea, and I am curious to see what I'm going to think of the rest of the series. I will continue it at some point. I don't have any timeline on it, but I probably should do it before I forget the details. But at this point, I'm not, chomping at the bit to finish it, but if I have some extra time this month and I want to finish up a series, that would be a good one to move on with. Speaking of continuing on with the series, I did pick up and finish Hideaway by Penelope Douglas. This one is the second book in the Devil's Night series. It follows Kai, one of the friends from the first book, and his love interest. It is a second chance, dark romance with bully aspects, and just, I don't really know how to really describe it without giving away the entire plot of book one. I definitely feel like these are not books that you can read out of order. You have to read them in order. They are cannot be read as standalones, just because a lot of the conflict of the story is based upon what happens at the end of book one in the series. So again, I can't really talk about it too much, but it does follow a relationship that happened between Kai and a girl that he met on Devil's Night 6 years prior to this relationship. And they had an interaction together, and it was definitely sparks were flying, and it is a second chance romance between the two of them. I wouldn't really count this as your normal second chance romance, because there's definitely a lot of angst and unwillingness to budge in regards to feelings and wants and desires, but I do think that it was a good book. I did enjoy it more than book one in the series, especially upon my reread of book one. I give this one a 4-star. I felt the pacing was a little bit better. I really liked the romance much more. It was less hardcore bully aspects to it, and Kai really is such a cinnamon roll character underneath all of it. After, you know, you pull away the trauma that he's faced in his past and his struggles that he has with not feeling like he is making his family proud, underneath that, he treats Banks, who is the main female character, he treats Banks so well and truly does care for her in his own way and figures out how to show it in his own way that is beneficial for both of them. So I enjoyed this one. I gave it a 4-star. Definitely an up for me in this vlog, just because I feel like a lot of them have been giving meh, you know? So I'm glad that I liked this one. But moving on to one that I'm absolutely loving, which is great because I needed this, is Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. I didn't think that I wasn't going to enjoy this one, mostly because I love Jennifer Hartman. I feel like this is definitely a win for me regardless, but this one is set in the same world as Still Beating, which is a very dark romance about two people that get kidnapped, and it is a relationship between the two of them, but it's taboo because the people that are kidnapped are a soon-to-be sister-in-law and soon-to-be brother-in-law, and they end up in a really intense and hard situation, and they're the only two people that understand each other, and so it's a relationship between the two of them. That's Still Beating. Lotus, the main character in this, Oliver, is teased in the I wouldn't call it a series, is teased in Still Beating. He was kidnapped at the age of 6 by a man that made him believe that the end of the world had come, a large atomic bomb had hit, and the outside world was no longer safe for inhabitants. And it is 22 years later. He is 30 years old, just about 30 years old, and 6 plus 22 is 28. Is that correct math? He escapes, and it is a relationship between his best friend from when he was 6 years old and him. They are still neighbors, and it is a second chance like situation. I wouldn't call it second chance at life, but definitely like a friends to lovers situation, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's definitely very cute, very sweet, very soft, but also the talks of trauma and PTSD and recovering from a very traumatic experience in your life is very well talked about, per usual for Jennifer Hartman books. I'm really enjoying this one. I love it a lot. I'm currently sitting at page 143, so I'm not quite close to the end yet, but I am really, really enjoying this one. I know that it got a reprint as well as a new audiobook, so I don't know if this one is the old version or the new version. I'm almost positive it's the old version because I've had this book for a little while, so I don't know what the changes were that were made to the physical book and the audiobook, but I am really enjoying my reading experience so far. I don't know exactly when I'm going to finish this one, but if I have a little bit more time and a little bit of free time, then I'm going to try to talk about the 3 books that I talked about at the beginning of this video, which is The Lost Fisherman, Garnet Flats, and When Heroes Fall. But I have a stacked TBR for October. It's officially October 1st, and I don't know if I'm going to actually get to any of those books. So I will keep you guys updated. This one is actually on my October TBR, so I found like it was a good excuse to pick something else up for this video. And I feel like maybe we'll end here because I really need to end on a high note. I will share all of my like stats and information with you guys at the end of this video with the books that I have on my TBR, the books that I have read, and what my rating is for those books, and then my average rating for the Mystic Box and Belle Box books as a whole. So stay tuned for that, but I'm going to try to finish this one up, and then if I have a little bit more time, I might extend this vlog a little bit longer to try to get maybe one more or two more books in. But I also got 2 more Mystic and Belle Box books that just came in, and that will raise my my average rating because I have read one of them and really enjoyed it. So the books that I got in this month's Belle Box is An Optimist Guide to Heartbreak and A Pessimist Guide to Love by Jennifer Hartman. So more Jennifer Hartman books. I have read book 1 in that series, or that duet I should say, and I gave it a 4.5 stars, so it's definitely gonna boost the rating, which is great, and I do want to continue on with that series. They don't have audiobooks yet, so it'll be a while, but I'm excited that, you know, the rating is going up, and maybe I can say that this is all worth it. So I will check in with you guys, and I have another update for you. Hopefully you're enjoying the vlog, and I'll talk to you later.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in old conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever, and I feel so free, oh my sweet baby. I was never the one to give up the ghost, no, I was so stuck. I kept on playing my part, wanting to give up 'cause nothing was changing. But with you it's so clear, and now that you're here I see colors in every spectrum. Guess I finally learned my lesson, 'cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever, and I feel so free, oh my sweet baby. Myself, and I'm thinking out loud, we won't need nothing else for the rest of our time, and I know it so well, I will always be by your side. 'Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever, and I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
Hi friends, I look a mess, but I wanted to come on here and close out this vlog. I want to talk about all the books that I picked up for this vlog and my thoughts and my somewhat final opinion on whether or not I think that Belle Box and Mystic Box is worth it. And then I'm also going to go through my little spreadsheet that I have on Notion just to kind of give you guys a visual of what I have read over the last, I don't know how many months I've had the subscription, and take a look at my ratings and my average rating and see if it's worth it to continue. So without further ado, let's talk about the books that I talked about during this vlog. I believe the first book that I read with you guys was Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. Not a great start to this video. I didn't love this book, and I still have a feeling of ick when I think about this book, and I just wish that I loved it more. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a terrible book by any means, and I think that the writing was really good, but I still think that there are some overly harmful in an unnecessary way things and topics talked about in this book that I don't think were handled in the best ways. Granted, reading is up to everyone's interpretation. Some person may read this and it may resonate with them and make them feel seen and heard and understood. For me, it was the opposite, and I just didn't think that it was represented in a way that felt very mindful of those that have actually gone through this. So again, my own personal experience, my own personal opinion on this one. Don't come for me if you don't think the same way, but that's just my thoughts. 3 stars. Then I picked up and read The Blood and Roses Part 1 by Callie Hart. Again, 3.5, not a bad rating, but not a spectacular book by any means. I am definitely interested in reading book 2. The pacing was a little strange, the writing was a little strange, but I think that the world building and the characters are interesting enough, and I am intrigued by the story in and of itself. I'm really curious about the next book that is coming up in this series, so hopefully I will like this enough to, you know, enjoy the next 3 novellas in this story, but we shall see. 3.5. And then it was upward trajectory after that. I read Hideaway, which I gave 4 stars. This is the second book in the Devil's Night series. I can't really talk about it too much because it is very dependent on the first book in the series, but I really enjoyed Kai as a character, and I really liked Banks, and I think that their story was very fun and compelling to read about. These books are a little too long, I think. The pacing of it was a little strange, but other than that, I enjoyed it. Definitely dark. I don't like one of the main characters in the story that is wreaking a lot of the havoc and chaos that the story relies on, and that is who book 3 is about, and I'm not sure I'm looking forward to that, but I am curious to see what I'm going to think. And finally, the last and final book that I read for this vlog was Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. I really enjoyed this one. Looking back on it, though, I do find that there are some things about this book that don't sit well with me. I think that the main character, the main female character, I think her name was Sydney, she was very selfish and very incapable of seeing the world beyond her own scope of understanding, and I just think that it left the character a lot to be desired because I didn't really find her super likable by the end of the story. I really liked the male main character. I think that he was great. He held the story together. Oliver was a fantastic male main character. But again, there were some things about his story that didn't quite line up, and things that I wish that were better explored, especially when it came to PTSD and why can't I say that word? PTSD and, is that right? PTSD. Babe, PTSD, is that right? PTSD and trauma. I feel like it could have been explored and handled in a more dynamic and understanding way, especially somebody that spent 22 years being held captive. I just feel like some things could have been explored a little bit better. That being said, the book in and of itself was good, and I think the beginning touched on trauma really well, but towards the middle and end of the story, it just didn't really make a lot of sense, but I still really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think if I was to change my rating, it'd probably be a solid 4-star, but I did really, really enjoy the reading experience, and I'm excited that I got to read more Jennifer Hartman. So, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into my stats for my Mystic and Belle Box books and see kind of where we're at. Okay, so this is all of the books that I have gotten over however many months I've been doing Belle Box and Mystic Box. I think I got Belle Box first, and then Mystic Box I got maybe 2 or 3 months after that. But I do have quite a few Belle Box books that I have not read, and then even more Mystic Box I feel like that I have not read comparatively. But I have read a good portion. I've also DNF'd a few and unhauled a few. But again, we'll go over everything. So of the ones that I've read, I've had only 2 5-star reads, which is pretty sad when you think about it, because I really want all of these books to be absolute bangers, 5 stars, books that I absolutely love. And unfortunately, that's just not the case for the subscription box. And that being said, Still Beating was a book that I had read prior to reading from this box, so I got it as a special edition having already read it. So still a win, still love the book, not any hate against that. It's just very interesting to think about, like, I didn't like go into the book picking it up and reading it as a 5-star for a special edition. It just happened to be one that I got and really enjoyed. That being said, I do have 4.5 stars, ones that I really, really love and enjoyed. Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry is a huge one on there. Lotus, of course, Jennifer Hartman. Hunting Adeline, I think this is Haunting, but it's Hunting Adeline. And then Optimist Guide to Heartbreak. All of those 4.5 stars, really enjoyed those ones. And then we have 2 4 stars, again, really great ratings. But the fact that I feel like half of the books below that are either DNF'd, unhauled, or 3.5 and below is not, it's not the best. It's not the best. So I have 4, 3.5, Hideaway by Penelope Douglas, Swoon by Lauren Rowe, The Naked Fisherman by Julie Ann, and Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. Again, when I first read it, it was a 4-star. Upon a reread, it went down to a 3.5. And then my 3s, I have Irresistible. I think that was by Siobhan Davis. Dark Notes by Pam Godwin, of course, and then When Heroes Fall by Gianna Darling. I've only read one book that I gave 2.5, and that was In Peace Lies Havoc by Amo Jones. I ended up unhauling the second book in the series because they came together, so I unhauled In Theory Lies Mischief. And then I DNF'd for now, but I think I'm going to officially DNF Be the Girl by K.A. Tucker because it's a YA. It doesn't really fit with this box, so I don't know why it was included, and I don't want to read YA romance. It's just not my vibe. And then Absinthe, which I will pick up eventually at some point, but at the time of reading it, I wasn't loving it. It's giving 3-star vibes, but I do want to finish my special edition books, so if I can get back to that, that would be great. I haven't officially given up on it, but not something that I'm excited to pick back up right now. So out of all of the books I have on here, I've read 16 of those books, and it's sitting at a 3.84 star rating. So again, I wish it was a 4 or higher, but honestly, a 3.84 is not bad. When you think of like a very good rating, 3.8 is still a solid good rating. It's just not, it's not as good as I want it to be. If I was looking at a list of like highest rated books on my TBR, this would not end up in there, you know, but it's not terrible. It could be worse. I just wish it was much higher. That being said, this will go up because the next books that I'm getting in Mystic Box is Tate James, and I've given almost all of her books 5 stars, so, you know, the number will go up, and I'm hoping it will only continue to go up, but I need to read a few more of my Belle Box especially, but I'm wishing that when I pick them up to read them, that I love them, and it doesn't seem to be the case, so. That being said, there's my stats, my information, as much as I'm going to give you at this time. If you guys want to know more information on, you know, Mystic and Belle Box and the stats that I have with the books that I own currently on my TBR, feel free to let me know. I do want to do this video again, so if you guys are interested in seeing me do this again and read some more books, it doesn't have to be from Belle Box or Mystic Box, from any of my subscription boxes, because I have a lot of them. Feel free to let me know that as well. I had a lot of fun doing this, and I do think it's something that I want to continue to do as just a way to push me and motivate me to pick up some of my special editions, because I do have way more than I have read, which is unfortunate, and I need a way to like catch up and bring that number down. So again, if you guys want to see more of these videos, or if you have any requests for specific books, feel free to leave that all in the comments below. That is the end of this video, though. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and of course leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby, turn it down like a sweet and ready. Keep it